Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something literally profound yet kind of deeply misunderstood. We're talking about that incredibly heavy, deeply isolating experience of just withdrawing from the world. You know the one. And we're going to look at it through a totally different lens than the one society usually hands us. Think about your own life lately. Have you started showing up differently? Maybe you're canceling plans at the literal last minute, right? Letting messages sit unread for days, or just finding yourself pulling away from people who used to be your absolute inner circle. You've probably got a story you're telling yourself to explain it, that you're just being antisocial, that you're slipping, or that you're, well, literally breaking down. But there's a specific kind of pain here that doesn't really have a clean name. It's like this hollow space where a self used to be. And you probably don't tell anyone about it because how do you explain that you aren't sad about one specific thing, but you're sad about everything and nothing at the exact same time? And this brilliantly illustrates the core issue. The world absolutely wants to treat your withdrawal as a failure, right? Just a depressive avoidance. But Carl Jung offers us a completely different concept: solitude as incubation. It's actually a voluntary surrender to the chaos inside you. Because, look, there is a specific kind of internal work that simply cannot happen when you're constantly managing other people's needs, their energy, or their versions of who you are supposed to be. Section 1. Jung's 1913 Solitude. See, Carl Jung didn't just study this stuff from afar. He actually lived through an experience that looked to the outside world like a total psychological collapse. Back in 1913, he made this radical decision to retreat entirely from his professional world. He spent hours completely alone at a lakeshore, literally building little stone structures like a child. Just sitting there with an inner life that had suddenly become way more real to him than the outside world. To his colleagues, it looked like a brilliant man losing his footing. But actually, scratch that, in reality, it was a man deliberately allowing something to form in the silence, something that could never ever have taken shape anywhere else. During this profound period of isolation, Jung uncovered a harsh but honestly beautiful reality about human growth. He realized the psyche does not evolve through comfort. It transforms through the total collapse of what you were. Let that sink in for a second. Comfort does not create evolution. For true transformation to happen, the old structures of who you thought you were, they have to fall apart completely. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we formally define what's actually happening to you. It's called incubation. Basically, a voluntary surrender to inner chaos, where withdrawal allows new psychological transformation to occur. It's so vital to understand that this solitude isn't just an empty void. While it might feel exactly like depression, it operates completely differently. It's filling you slowly and invisibly. Your psyche has essentially revoked your outward social tools so that a new version of you can safely gestate in the quiet. It's wild when you think about it. Section 2. The Alchemy of Transformation. Let's move to this framework and see how this builds. To understand the stages of this inner collapse, Jung turned to the ancient alchemists. He noticed this process perfectly follows their old sequence. Step 1 is nigredo, or the blackening. Step 2 is albedo, the whitening. And step 3 is rubedo, the reddening. If you are in the thick of this heavy withdrawal right now, you are located squarely in step 1, the nigredo. So the nigredo is defined as the stage of death and dissolution. And Jung's framework reveals something super surprising about that intense pain you're feeling in that hollow space. Most of the agony, it doesn't actually come from the dying of the old self. No, it comes from your fierce resistance to it. Your ego is fighting tooth and nail to put that old structure back together. It's grieving the old you so completely that you are left with absolutely zero energy to become the new one. It's exhausting. Jung was incredibly unsparing about this specific phase of the journey. He warned that the absolute most dangerous moment is not the beginning of the darkness. The most dangerous moment is the end of it. Why? Because the end of the darkness looks exactly identical to the beginning. It feels just as heavy, just as hopeless, which is exactly why so many people just throw in the towel and give up right at the finish line. When people quit, we see this really tragic contrast. Basically, you can panic, rebuild the old structures, and rush back to old relationships, spending the rest of your life wondering why the exact same collapse keeps finding you year after year after year. We suffer all of the agony but get literally none of the integration. Or we can choose the difficult but absolutely necessary path, moving all the way through the process to achieve true, lasting psychological integration. Now, if you can hold on and allow that silence to become strangely inhabited, you might start noticing something Jung called synchronicity. Basically, these are meaningful coincidences where your inner state and outer events seem to perfectly rhyme. You hit a breaking point, and magically the exact right book falls into your lap, or a complete stranger says the exact words you needed to hear. These aren't just random magic tricks, okay? They are clear signs that you are aligned with your own individuation process. It's a signal from your unconscious that its deep intelligence is actively moving through you.
All right, section 3, doing the inner work.
So, how do we practically navigate our way out of this? When the isolation feels just way too heavy, the pressure to make major, life-altering decisions can become almost unbearable. So the crucial point is to force yourself to pause and ask this fundamental question. Is the decision I'm about to make coming from the new self that's emerging, or is it just the old self desperately trying to survive? To make sure you're actually on the right path, Jung gave us some specific homework. First, you have to stop trying to just feel better. Almost everything we do to quickly comfort ourselves is actually aimed at ending the process prematurely rather than moving through it. Second, wait on those major decisions until real clarity arrives. And third, tonight before you sleep, do the work. Write down one thing that has been true about this period that you haven't allowed yourself to say out loud. Not a feeling, mind you, but a hard fact. Just one unpolished sentence, for your eyes only. This whole framework validates exactly where you are right now. The emerging self is not just a patched-up, repaired version of the one that collapsed. No way. It is something profoundly different that could only have been born from the complete death of what came before. You couldn't have reasoned your way here. You couldn't have planned your way into this transformation. The only path forward is exactly through what you are surviving right now. Let's leave off with this thought. The dawn is not announced, it simply arrives. Something has been set in motion inside of you that cannot be undone, and where it leads is the next step of your map. So I want you to leave a comment below with just one single word that describes where you are in this process right now. Seriously, do it. When you look at the responses, you'll realize that the darkness you assumed was yours alone is shared by more people than you can possibly imagine. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Trust your incubation, and I'll see you next time.